Fire away.
Todd, the run defense the last 2 weeks has had some issues at
I
times.
think last week was totally different than the week before.
Okay.
I mean, in this game, I thought we were pretty good. The first drive they hit, they drove and scored, but really after that, we had the one double-digit run that led to a field goal. So we ended up holding them 10 points in the first half, and then after that, they had the long run there when it was a 3-possession game. But when you look at overall the yardage, like counting the first drive, even in the first 61 plays, they only averaged 4.4 yards per play. So I'll take that. There's some things that we need to fit better as a team. I mean, when you talk about run defense, it's D-line, linebackers, and secondary. Just like pass defense is rush and coverage, so it's a little bit of everything. So, those guys I thought did a pretty good job of working the game and understand what to do, and made some plays, particularly in the second half. Like when you look at the second half, they only had one drive over 4 plays. So I thought the guys did a pretty good job that way.
So will Granardo and Zuniga, how much will they bolster that aspect?
Well, I think anytime you add guys that have ability to win one-on-one blocks and create mismatches that way, it helps you win some one-on-one blocks. I think anytime you can add guys like that, it helps.
How strong is this Georgia ground game?
They're really good. I mean, when you look at them, they're really talented up front. They're big guys that push the pile. They probably got the best back in the country as far as when you look, he can really accelerate. He can take a seam and he'll run to daylight, which, really good backs will do, and he's got the speed and acceleration to do it. They got a really good quarterback and get them in the right place. So, the combination of all that make them a good team.
From your perspective, how much of their offense does center around DeAndre Swift?
Well, I think that anytime you have an elite player like that, you're going to find ways to get him the ball. So they'll get him the ball in the run game, obviously, but they can swing it or screen it and get him the ball that way in space. But their backs in general are really good, not only him, but the guys that play behind him. So we know it's going to be a challenge, so we'll work on ourselves this week and work to get better and get healthier and start on them on Monday.
Their offensive line, many consider maybe the best in the country. What do you see from it?
I think you can argue that. I mean, I haven't seen everybody in the country, so I think that when you look at them, they're really big, they're physical, they can push the pile, they can move the point of attack, they play with a little bit of attitude. They do a really good job, so we're going to have to be ready for a challenge.
You said working on yourself this week. What are some of those things you're working on?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is one, guys that have played a lot of snaps, trying to get them some rest, recovery. Guys that we're looking at to help us, like Bogle, Mamu, Brunson, guys like that. The young corners, being able to get those guys reps on things that we're going to do moving forward to be ready if called upon, because, when an injury happens, you got to have next man up, and that's been our attitude.
You guys seem like you've kind of played 2 different duos at safety when you rotate them there. Do they have different strengths or abilities?
No, it's just a matter of, they all played in the 35 to 45 play range. We just feel like with the guys that we have, they all have talent, they all have ability. It's better to play all 4 of those guys, say, in the 40s, as opposed to, a couple guys 75 or 80. I mean, trying to keep guys fresh. So really it's just a matter of trying to keep guys fresh and into what we're doing, and we have the luxury with having 4 guys that we can do that.
What kind of seasons David Reese having, production-wise? He's leading the SEC in tackles.
Well, David is a very physical guy in the box. He's done a really good job of understanding our defense and where he needs to fit. He's really improved, I felt like, over last year. He's a good tackler. He's strong at the point of attack. He'll run through guys as far as being a tackler. He's physical. I think he's having an excellent year for us.
Mm-hmm. Did CJ, there have been a few plays that have been made on him. I mean, Edwards' catch the other day was a pretty
that was a good catch.
Great play, but what kind of season do you think he's
I think CJ's having a very good year. I mean, anytime you miss a few games, you got to knock the rust off a little bit. But, he had the big sack there when he came on the corner pressure, caused the fumble there. He's made some plays, particularly like he's been a force in the Auburn game, in the run game. I thought he did a really good job there. I think his tackling has really improved as we went through the season. So I think he's having a really good year, and I think as we move forward, he'll have some opportunities to make plays. He had a chance to make an interception there in the red zone right before the second half touchdown. If he makes that play, then we're talking about his numbers and things like that. So, he's just got to keep plugging away, and then when you get those opportunities, make them.
How excited are you to have Grenard and Zuniga back?
I think anytime you can get guys that are playmakers, guys that affect the game both in the run and the pass, that can win one-on-one blocks is going to excite you.
Moved Trey back to star mostly for this last game. How did you see him respond after playing mostly Marco there?
He did a good job. I mean, football is about matchups and what are the best matchups relative to who we're seeing. And he understood what we were doing. And I think the biggest thing is you always got to have communication with players to make sure they understand here's what we're doing, here's why. And everybody's got to be into that team approach, and we'll take the team approach and do the best we can with the players we have available and work to be successful and win games.
What's South Carolina do to kind of get